So you're talking about sunk costs. So there's a need for your consistent performance to move things through the pipeline. Yet you want to experiment at the same time. How do you develop a way to balance those two?
The 80/20, it's mostly this is a process that worked for us. This is what works. You're going to have to follow it. This is the timeline to close the deal, and I can get into it a little bit later, but we have our own, let's call it a system, a souped up medic that includes a timeline as well, and I can talk about its development. But I want to see that the customer transitions from step to step and we actually have momentum. And then you have your 20% of the time try to experiment with this market that we didn't think it would work, with this system integrator that we might didn't think it would work, with this different approach, selling only part of our solution just to get an entry, and hopefully that smaller contract turns into a bigger one, rather than start with the most important piece of what we sell. So there's different approaches. 80% has to be what the bread and butter, and because it works. And the other 20% is where you try things. And you can try things on critical customers. You don't have to try things just on peripheral customers, but know what you're doing and know why you're doing it, why it's different, and what is the expected outcome. And of course, it was discussed when. By when do you change tack or change approach?
The part that I 100% agree with, well, I agree with everything you just said, but that understanding what I expect, understanding what I'm looking for, understanding what I'm trying, and not losing track of that over the time period is a mistake that I constantly see happen.
Yes, and we have a system to follow up on everything that happens, because when you're responsible for 7 to 10 deals, let's say even 7 deals with large telecom or energy enterprises, and it's going to take 12 months, and there's about 5 people. Yeah, you have 2 champions and 5 people, critical people, and then another 10 people in each one. Now you have to manage an excess of 250 contacts that are important to you, and some are critical. If you don't follow up with a system on everything that happened, and you're not able to report it every 2 weeks, then you're going to lose track. And all you say, yeah, yeah, I spoke to my champion. And yes, I spoke to the economic decision maker. And yes, the value was established. And yes, all these great things that all these cells. But when is it going to close? What are the steps that are required to close over this very long horizon? So you have to be able to follow up, or establish a timeline for everything you do.